Hey everybody, I'm here today with a driving lesson on backing up in a parking lot. In this video, I'll be going over the basics of reversing a car and backing up while you are in a parking lot, whether that parking lot is basically empty or basically full. You should be taking the same actions and the same steps. So I'll be going over the basics of reversing when you're not in a parking spot, and then I'll be going over the basics of reversing when you're starting out in a parking spot and you want to get out of that parking spot. Let's get right into the video. Step number one is obviously buckle up, put on your seatbelt. Safety always comes first on this channel. That's right. Let's get right into the video. First and foremost, when you are reversing, if you are in an automatic car, you should basically not have to press the gas pedal. You should just be controlling the brake pedal. You shouldn't really be pushing the gas pedal because you don't need that much speed when you're reversing. But if you're in a manual car, then you're going to be pushing the gas pedal and balancing out that clutch. You want to sort of find the biting point of that clutch to get the car to move back slowly. So if you are reversing and you're not in a parking spot, put your foot down on the brake, and I'm going to demonstrate in an automatic car. Put the vehicle in reverse, release the parking brake, and what you can do is before you start, you want to check your three mirrors, so your center mirror, your two side mirrors. You want to look all around the car. Look for any pedestrians, any obstructions, any cars. I can see that there are a lot of parked cars here, but there are actually no obstructions that are nearby. There's a light post far back there, and there's no pedestrians at all. So when you're ready to go, you want to release the brake pedal in an automatic car, and you want to move back slowly. Now, if I fully release the brake pedal, you can see I'm picking up speed, and I don't want to go back this quickly. So I'm going to hover over that brake pedal, and as I'm reversing, what do you notice? I am constantly looking around. You don't want to reverse like this, because guess what? There are things that your mirrors can't show you. You want to be alternating between checking your mirrors and looking around. So as you can see, as I move backwards and I hover over the brake pedal, checking my mirrors, and I'm scanning all around the car. Now, when you're moving back, if you want to go in a straight line, keep that wheel straight and just release the brake pedal, just like that. Very simple. If you want to send the back of your car to your left, then guess what? You need to steer to the left. So if I take my wheel and I turn it to the left, like I just did, and I release the brake pedal, the rear of my car is now going to the left. The more that you turn the wheel, the more that the rear of your car, the sharper the turn is going to be towards the left. Now, if instead, on the other hand, I want to send the rear of my car to the right, I would turn to the right, just like that. The rear of my car is now going to my right-hand side, okay? You want to turn it a little bit more, then you get a sharper turn. Very simple and straightforward. Now, the best way to sort of remember which way is right and left when you're reversing, because it can be confusing at times, is to look in front of your car and pretend that you're reversing. Now, if I'm looking at the front of my car and I put my car in reverse, if I steer to the left and I'm looking at the front, the rear of my car is going to go to my left when I'm looking at the front. If you turn your head around, your perspective is changed and it complicates things. So look at the front of your car, steer to the left, and guess what? When you're in reverse, the rear of your car is going to go to your left when you're looking at the front. Obviously, you don't want to reverse while looking at the front of the car, but just for perspective's sake. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull into this parking spot. And it is a parking spot that has one car on my right side. There's no car on the left side. So right now there's no car on the left side, there's a car on my right side. Let's say you want to reverse in a parking lot. This is the second half of the driving lesson. And you want to reverse out of a parking spot. Well, it's very, very similar, but there are a few little things that I have to add on to this part of the driving lesson to make sure that, you don't hit any cars or get in an accident or cause anything bad. So, what you want to do is first start out and check all around your car. Look for any pedestrians, obstructions, and also make note of how close you are to the cars beside you. So I can see there's no car in the parking spot over here, but there's a car fairly close on my right-hand side, which is the side that has the camera. So I'm taking note of that. When you're ready to proceed, put the car in reverse, release the emergency brake if it's on, do a quick little scan of your mirrors and looking all around the car, sort of like a 360-degree check all around the car, and then release the brake pedal, okay? Now, like I said, if you're in an automatic car, just hover over the brake, Don't push the gas. If you're in a manual car, you want to find the sweet spot of the clutch where you push the gas down and you find that spot where you release the clutch and the car starts to move. That's the biting point. You want to use that to guide the car. So your gas is staying in the same spot. Your clutch is sort of going in and out. You're almost burning the clutch a little bit just to get it to move slowly. So now that I'm reversing, I'm going back. Now, I want to reverse my car so that the rear of my car goes to the left, okay? So I'm gonna turn my wheel slightly to the left. Now, what you don't wanna do is turn your wheel all the way to the left, because then your front end of your car is gonna swing out to your right. When you're reversing, if you turn your wheel sharply, the front end of your car swings out. So I don't wanna turn my wheel sharply. I just wanna turn it a little bit to begin with, just like that. Like I'm literally a quarter of a turn, and I'm reversing like this, looking all around. And then what you want to do is when the front of your car has cleared the car beside you that you're trying to not scrape, then you can crank that steering wheel and get a really sharp turn in reverse. So now the front of my car has cleared that car beside me in the parking spot. So I've cranked the wheel all the way to the left. We're going to continue reversing just like this, always looking around, okay? And when we're ready to proceed, we bring the car to a complete stop, put the car in drive, steer in the opposite direction, which is to the right, and we proceed just like that. Now, there is another part of reversing out of a parking spot that I want to go over. So what I'm going to do is I'll pull into actually this parking spot, because then there will be a car behind me. So I'm pulling into this parking spot over here. I know that you can't really see my perspective, but I would rather you see my steering than the front of the car. I want you to see what I'm doing, not what I'm seeing, kind of thing. So when I'm reversing, there's no cars on either side of me right now. I'm in a parking spot that is alone, no cars on either side. I'm gonna reverse, and because there aren't any cars, I'm not gonna scrape anything, so I can turn the wheel significantly, okay? I don't have to ease up on it, I can just turn it. Now, when you're reversing in a parking lot, okay, out of a parking spot, or even when you're not in a parking spot, you might be reversing close to another car. So I'm turning my head and I'm estimating the distance behind me. Now, lucky enough for me, this car actually has a reverse camera, a rear view camera, so I can just adjust the view and I can see how close I am to that car. But if I didn't have this camera, because this is the first car that I own that has this camera, I would constantly be looking at the car and like checking and seeing the distance. You don't want to hit the car. If you ever think that you're going to hit the car, just stop. And if you don't have enough space to go, stop, put the car in drive, turn your wheel all the way in the opposite direction. So I was steering to the left, now I'm steering to the right. I move forward a little bit more, stop, put it in reverse, and then start again, okay? Just like that. So I'm inching forward to get a little bit more distance to turn the wheel sharply. The last thing that I want to mention before I finish this video is the fact that you have to signal whenever you're steering in reverse, and your signal will correspond with the direction of the steering wheel. If I'm reversing and I'm steering to the left significantly, I mean, if you're just steering like this to the left, you probably don't have to signal, in my opinion. But if I'm like reversing into a parking spot or out of a parking spot and I'm steering to the left, my left signal goes on. Now I reverse and I'm turning the wheel to the left. If instead I was reversing significantly to the right, I would put my right signal on, steer to the right, and that would be that. And that's basically it. In this video, I've gone over the basics of reversing in a parking lot, backing up in a parking lot. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.